Welcome to the Mindful Heart series. This practice is a tense and release. We're going to take our body through some different joint mobilizations to release any pockets of air or tension through the physical body. It's a very gentle movement practice that can be done anywhere. We then move into tense and release yoga nidra or guided relaxation, where we feel the tension in the body and then we intentionally let it go. From that space, we move into experiencing light moving through the body and reawaken with a little less tension. I hope you enjoy your practice. So as we go through the joints, I want you just to be really mindful that you might hear little pops and cracks, you might feel a little air releasing. If you feel like staying in a position or a posture a little bit longer than what I'm cueing, you absolutely have that permission. If at this moment you are pregnant, when we come into the twist, if it doesn't feel comfortable, please know that you do not have to do that twist. Instead, you might just stay with your hands and do a couple cat-cows, okay? So we're gonna start actually, and I want you to place your hands just underneath your shoulders. We're going to drop the belly, open up the chest, keep your arms straight, pull your shoulders back towards your hips, and then lift up the chest and maybe even the gaze just so slightly. Then we're going to reverse that, push down through the tops of the feet, push down through your hands, round through your spine, take your gaze towards your navel and really stretch up through the back of your heart. And then you'll begin to move through those, and I want you to play a little bit with how maybe slowly you're moving, how mindfully you're taking your attention to the back of the heart, and maybe even beginning to pair your breath here. I might also encourage you to play a little bit, rolling out to the right, stretching through the right side of your rib cage, the left side of your rib cage, and just really checking in with how your spine's feeling. There's also nothing that stops you from swinging the hips around in some big giant circles. Maybe even taking the hips a little forward and backwards, that those can feel really nice through your spine as well. But just for a couple of minutes, playing with rounding and arching the spine, moving it around and playing into that space. As you're observing the sensation through your spine, let the head and the neck be restful. You don't need to look and kind of hold the head up as you're doing this. You might even close the eyes. Now, centering yourself back into the middle, we're going to start to move through the right hip joint. So bring the left knee a little bit closer to the center line and just start to circle your right knee. And this, honestly, you can make it quite quick. I find the quicker it is, the more you get all that little air pockets out. And sometimes you even switch your core on a little bit. So circling one way, then circling the other way. And maybe switch the direction again one last time. And then we'll put that knee down to the floor and we'll switch sides, shifting the knee to the center, take your left knee out to the side, and begin to circulate that hip, pulling it into the chest, taking it wide, exploring what's my full range through my hip joint. Switching the direction of that circling, moving the joint, moving the joint. Maybe one last little switch around. And then that knee comes back to the floor. And do the same thing with the arms. So place your left hand a little bit more to the midline. Take your right arm up to the sky and just start to circle your arm. Now, if you've got some funky stuff happening with your wrist, what it might be nice is two options. You can bring the elbow down and circle the arm. The other thing is you could actually sit back onto your feet if your knees feel okay and circle the arms this way. So just know that any way that you'd like to, you're going to circle your arm, switch the direction. Keep the gaze looking to the floor, and then switch sides. So again, wherever you are, whether you're on your elbow, your fingertips, or your hand, or maybe even sitting back onto your heels, you're just circling that left arm, switching the direction of the circling around and around. Keeping the breath. And then we'll take a little rotation, a twist. So start by threading your right arm underneath you as you bring the shoulder and the cheek to the floor. Then press into your left hand very gently and rotate a little bit more on your exhale. As you keep your shoulder down on the floor If this in any way feels uncomfortable for your body, please come back to hands and knees and take a child's pose. Breathe into the ribs, the upper back. 2 more. Nice full expression of your breath into the back of your ribs. And letting it go. Push down through your left hand, recenter your spine. Take your left arm up to the sky as you breathe in. Thread it underneath. And again, as you come to the second side, we're going to place the head down, the cheek down, and as you push into your right palm, use your exhale to twist. And allowing the exploration of your full breath into the back of the ribs. If there's any restriction, discomfort, maybe coming back to child's pose. Nice big breath in. Open the mouth, maybe a sigh. Push down through your right palm, come back up to center, stretch the arm back and down, give the shoulders a little shrug. Okay, so tuck the toes under, walk your hands back towards your knees for a second, and just pause. This is usually a pretty big stretch for most of us through the back of the feet. We're only going to do it for a couple of moments. It's nice to get that stretch to the bottoms of the feet, the ankle joints. And then release the ankles and just bend the toes towards your knees and then point them away from you. Flex the toes, point the toes. And then maybe circle both of those ankles. Doesn't matter what direction you're going, you're just getting all that movement into each of the joints. Now, placing the feet to the floor, I'm going to give 2 options. So one, you might sit back onto your heels, and this could be comfortable. But if you've got something happening with your knees, then it actually might feel more comfortable to come up to stand on your knees or to sit on your bum. Please know that that is also an option. So for those that are staying sitting on their bum, we're going to sit, take the right arm up overhead, grab that wrist with our left hand, and take a little stretch over to the side. Now, what can be really nice is you're breathing into that right lung, that right side of your rib cage. You could also drop your chest a little bit down and breathe into the back of the ribs. Maybe even turn that armpit a little more to the ceiling. Sometimes it's nice to actually place the left hand out to the left, bend into the left elbow, and really reach through your right arm. Again, still dropping and opening the armpit, but doing it gently and softly, without force. As that hand comes back up through center, the chest comes back up through the middle, we'll switch to the other side. Reaching up, grabbing a hold of that left wrist, pull it lightly over to the right. Again, the options to maybe drop the armpit towards the floor, breathing into the back of the ribs, turning and opening the chest, the armpit to the sky. And as you're moving those really gentle kind of undulations or movements through opening the chest and closing the chest, if you had the option of placing the fingers to the floor and just stretching through the side, it's there. And keeping that nice smooth breath through the side of the rib cage. As you come back up through center, now if you're on your shins, your knees, you might stay on your knees. We're just going to roll the wrist joints. So this can still be done seated on your bum, seated as I'm seated, or on your shins. Rolling the wrists. And now the neck, we don't want to do too much with the neck, but it is nice to move the muscles in the spine. So turn your gaze to look to the right, back to center, over to the left, back to center. Without force, over to the right, back to center, over to the left, back to center. Drop your chin to your chest slightly. Take a big breath in like you're rolling down. You can even do this through the hands and the knees. You're just rolling chin to the chest. And then lifting up your spine. Take a breath in. Okay, so as we've moved through all of our joints, what's quite nice now is we're going to move through a tense release. And I like to do this laying on my back. So I might get you to lay wherever you are. So this doesn't have to be, again, a yoga mat. I do have one underneath me now, which is quite nice to just have the little bit of padding. But if you need a little more padding, you might use a carpet or a rug. We're going to stretch our legs all the way down and out. And then if you need any kind of article of clothing for your eyes or something for the back of the neck to support you, just make sure your neck isn't jammed all the way up. I want your head to be able to rest in line with your spine. So we want this energetic line through the spine, the support of the floor beneath us. Take your arms out to the side and take 2 to 3 breaths, just kind of wiggling and stretching out and just noticing. Maybe the fingers need some little scrunches. Maybe the ankles need a little rock and roll. And so as we move through a tense release kind of nidra here, we are going to, again, I'm going to bring your attention to points of the body. This practice, we are going to create a little tension and then we're going to release it. I would give about 10 to 20% of your effort without trying to work too hard. Let's bring the attention to your face. I want you to squish all the muscles in your face. So you squeeze your eyes, your lips, your cheeks, hold everything really tense. 3, 2, relax. All the muscles in your face, holding tension, squishing the eyes, the nose, scrunching up your lips, holding tension. 3, 2, release. Taking the awareness to the neck and the throat. Holding tension through your neck and your throat. 3, 2, release. Doing that again, breathing, holding tension through the neck and the throat. 3, 2, release. Awareness to your right arm. So from the right shoulder to the right fingertips without creating a fist. Hold tension. 3, 2, release. In your right arm without creating a fist, hold tension. 3, 2, release. Left arm down to the fingertips without creating a fist. Hold tension, shoulder to fingertips. 3, 2, release. Last time through the left arm, holding tension. 3, 2, release. Through your right leg, holding tension from the right buttocks to the toes. 3, 2, release. Right leg, tension from the buttocks to the toes, holding, and let go. Left buttocks to the toes, holding tension. 3, 2, release. Last one for the left leg, holding tension. 3, 2, release. Whole body, tension through the legs, the arms, the face, the neck. Let it go. Last one, whole body, tension, holding, shoulders shrugging, and release. Now letting the body rest effortless. Your attention just softly resting at the space between the eyebrows for a moment. Whole body resting, mind resting. As if you're breathing into the space between your eyebrows, I want you to bring that awareness down towards your toes. As you breathe in, imagining your breath in, pulling all the way down towards your feet. And then the exhale from your feet all the way back towards the crown of the head. Following that breath 3 more times, pulling the breath in, down towards the feet. Exhaling from the feet back to the crown of the head. Last one, breathing in, down to the feet. From the feet back to the crown of the head. Attention now breathing in, down to the ankles. Ankles back to the crown of the head. Breathing in down to the ankles. Ankles back to the crown of the head. One more like that, inhaling down to the ankles. Exhaling from the ankles to the crown of the head. Inhaling now down to the knees. From the knees now to the space between the eyebrows. Inhaling, space between the eyebrows down to the knees. Exhaling from the knees back to the space between the eyebrows. Inhaling, space between the eyebrows down to the knees. From the knees, exhaling back to the space between the eyebrows. Space between the eyebrows, inhaling down to your pelvis. Pelvis back to the space between the eyebrows. Inhaling, eyebrows down to the pelvis. Pelvis back to the eyebrows. Breath getting subtler, softer. Breathing in now, eyebrows to heart. Heart back to eyebrows. Inhaling in the heart. Exhaling out. Letting the breath now gently rest just around the heart space. A warmth of light, any color you desire. Resting just at the heart space softly with your breath. Keeping the body soft. Maybe the tension dissolves just a little more. Breathing at the center of the chest. We're going to begin to create a light of energy, almost like a shield. Breathing outward. Taking that beautiful ball of light in the center of the heart and beginning to breathe into it, expanding outward. Each time you inhale, that light begins to grow as it grows around the chest, beginning to reach outward, surrounding the arms and the pelvis, encompassing the head and the legs, breathing into the strength and the vibrancy of that light. Slowly bringing yourself back into the space. Protected, enlivened, and full of this beautiful light of energy. Take a nice big stretching reach of your arms and your legs. Maybe a nice exhale. You could bend the knees. Rolling over to your right or your left side for a moment, taking as much time as you need there before helping yourself come up to a comfortable seated position. Any seat that feels comfortable, cross-legged or on your shins, can be a nice way just to place the palms in front of the heart. Honor the release and the movement of tension and the new light we step into and move forward with.